Soil pollution. So we'll be discussing about various sources of soil pollution, effects of soil pollution and control measures. Now coming to the first point, that is what is soil pollution. So soil pollution, to come before to soil pollution we need to know that how soil is formed. So soil basically is the uppermost layer. Okay, if we have soil, we have the uppermost layer, that is the top soil. Okay, so this soil layer that is there is very important. And how it is formed? It is basically formed by weathering of rocks. Okay, various processes of weathering create this soil. Now this soil is required by we have various microorganisms that stay in the soil. We have crops that are produced in the soil. So many times what happens, lot of waste, industrial waste, sludge waste that is produced from wastewater treatment, radioactive waste, then we have various waste materials, okay, that we do landfilling of. From that also sometimes lot of licate material will be released into this soil, and hence we term this soil as contaminated, or that's what we say is soil pollution. Now coming to various sources of soil pollution. So sources of soil pollution, various industrial sources we have, like various industries are there, like paper mills, textile industries, steel industries, distilleries, which produce lot of waste and which is dumped into the soil. Then many of the thermal power plants, they also produce lot of fly ash, okay, that again gets settled into the soil. Then we have various agricultural sources that produce lot of waste, like fertilizers, pesticides. These ultimately, when they are applied into the fields, they will ultimately with the rain end into the closest water body. So these are the various sources of air, soil pollution. Now in soil pollution, the pesticides that we are talking about, remember DDT, Eldrain, then endosulfan, these are very very toxic pesticides that are used, and these also lead, or these also get accumulated in the soil. And because they are persistent chemicals, okay, they are not degraded by microorganisms, they will be there for a long period of time. And because they are there, they will be getting accumulated into, they will ultimately get into the food chain, and it will be a part of the food chain, and that's where biomagnification, biological accumulation, these phenomena will start occurring. Then various industrial waste have various toxic substances. They have various metals like mercury, then arsenic, and these are very very dangerous metals, which if are is if exposed to human, okay, then they can become very very carcinogenic. They can cause lot of health effects. Okay, coming to the next slide. So effects of soil pollution. So what are the various effects of soil pollution? Now first of all, um, as I said, that it is very persistent toxic chemical. So persistent basically means that this chemicals will not be degraded by any microorganisms, and they also have lot of effect on non-target organisms, like we had already discussed this, like DDT. When we applied DDT, it was basically meant to kill mosquitoes, but it was seen that even other non-target target organisms, like lizards or various pet animals also were killed because of exposure to this toxic chemical. Then it also reduces the soil flora and fauna. The soil productivity is reduced. Crop cultivation, we require soil, good quality of soil, but if there is lot of waste in such soils, we cannot use that soil. Then accumulation in the food chain, hence because these are persistent chemicals, they cannot be broken down by microorganisms, they will accumulate into the food chain. Then next we have is sewage sludge. Now here we can see this image of sewage sludge. Now where did we discuss this sewage sludge? This basically comes in wastewater treatment. Okay, so whenever we are doing, okay, whenever the industries do wastewater treatment, the sludge, okay, so here we can see the sludge is basically one of the waste product that is there. Now this sludge, the sewage sludge, has lot of microorganisms, because the secondary treatment requires various microorganisms. So these are pathogenic bacteria, viruses, and various other worms are present in this sewage sludge, and ultimately it can cause various kinds of diseases. Okay, because they are very toxic, they can be very toxic. Then radioactive fallout. So lot of radioactivity is also associated with the soil. And if we talk about strontium 90, okay, this is one of the radioactive element which replaces calcium in our body. Okay, it can easily replace calcium, and hence it can make the bones very, brittle and prone to fractures. So this becomes, whenever this radioactive substances are in the soil, they will be, continuously emitting various kinds of radiations, various kinds of particles, okay, till they get into a stable form, and their half life is very very high. So they will be emitting many radiations into the atmosphere. And last one that we have is eutrophication, that is various nitrogenous, phosphorus fertilizers that are used by farmers. Okay, ultimately, whatever fertilizers that we apply in the farm, okay, with the rain, it is going to lead into the water bodies. It is going to cause high nutrients in this water bodies. Okay, high nutrients in this water bodies, and algal growth will be there. And this algal growth, basically they have a very short life cycle, soon they will die and they will decompose, and lot of dissolved oxygen is required in this process. Okay, so when lot of dissolved oxygen is required, the dissolved oxygen will decrease, and the BOD of this lakes will increase. So ultimately, anaerobic conditions will be there in this kind of situation, and only pathogenic bacteria will be able to survive in such kind of conditions. So that is the short process that we had already discussed, that is eutrophication process. So coming to the next slide, that is the, control of soil pollution. So we know what are the various sources of soil pollution, what are the various effects of soil pollution. Now how do we control soil pollution? So various methods can be applied, that, whenever industries are disposing of any waste, they have to be properly treated. Now when we are talking about this, remember, there are various strict guidelines, rules that are followed by various industries. They cannot just dump their waste into the backyard, as we say. Okay, they have to make sure that they are treating this waste and getting all the parameters within the range, within the limit, and only then they are disposing it off. Then we have various kinds of solid waste that has to be disposed properly. We have seen various methods for solid waste, how to dispose, like landfills are there, in which we can, or incineration. Okay, incineration. These are various methods by which solid waste can be disposed. Now some waste that is there can be recovered and made into useful products, like for example, waste like cow dung, okay, or night soil. Night soil is nothing but human feces. Okay, human feces. What is it spelled like? Yeah, human feces. So this is basically can be used. The cow dung, the human feces can be used for methane generation. That is in biogas plant. Okay, for biogas plant it can be used. And then last is microbial degradation of biodegradable waste. So whatever biodegradable waste that is there can be degraded using this various microorganisms. Okay, so these are the few methods by which, we can control soil pollution. Thank you so much.